All right. Hello, everyone. We are back with Are You Seeing This? My YouTube channel. And we have Canary again, or Courtney. Yay.
Hi.
So today we're going to review Raw, Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania and WrestleMania Night 2. We're going to start off with Raw, and we're going to start off with the men's matches first. I'm trying to remember. It feels like so long ago, but it was literally only like 2 days ago. Where do you want to start? We had Judgment Day versus the Invisible Man.
And forgot about that. Let's start with that the 6-way tag match. I was not like, it completely slipped my mind when they said that their partner was somebody that nobody could see. In my head, I was like, oh, they're just keeping K-fob for whoever this is. Not in my head, like clicking, oh, it's probably John Cena. No, in my head, I'm like, oh, it's probably another, like, it's probably like a Hall of Famer, or it's probably someone we haven't seen in a long time.
I only knew from the crowd's reaction. And then I was like, oh. But yeah, if the crowd didn't react, I wouldn't know what they were talking about.
That match was so good just because you had the Amazing Truth, who R-Truth just so badly wants to be a part of Judgment Day, even though he's not a part of it. My favorite part of that little segment was when they were talking and he just gets in the ring and just holds up the belt with them when they're all standing together. And I'm like, he just so badly wants to be included.
They should have let him, right? They're so about the titles. He has a title. So he did something that Dom and JD weren't able to do.
Nope.
Just putting it out there. Anywho. But yeah, that fight was really cool. John Cena came out. I thought it was just cool because, you know, they have all of those celebrities. They have all the wrestlers that people want to see because of WrestleMania. It was just there. So they know they have all this talent around, and so they get the opportunity to introduce people like Jade, and we'll talk about her too. But that was really cool. I liked that fight. It was funny. I was worried. I thought, I can't remember if the titles were on the line or not, but that was the prediction I told you night one. I was like, what if they make them fight immediately for those titles and they lose the titles? Because that's something that happened last year, and I was worried about that. So maybe that's a sign that they're not going to lose their titles right away and they get to keep it for a little bit and continue bringing us comedy. I hope. But I was happy that they didn't. Oh, there was that one spot too where they all got like slammed. I don't know what the move is called, but what is that move called? Do you know?
No, not off the top of my head. I could describe it, but I can't, like, the name. I have to Google, like, the actual terminology name for him sometimes. And I'm like, I like that move, but I don't know what it's called, but I like it.
There's way too many moves. And I have the 2K game or whatever, and there's like a trillion moves. And it's so... It took me like a week to figure out my moveset from just one character. But anyways, there's so many moves. I don't know. And some of them are the same, just named differently. Okay. Cause it's a different wrestler that had it or whatever. But yeah, that was a cool spot. And again, I'm just happy that the Judgment Day didn't get what they wanted 2 nights ago. So
staying on the topic of Judgment Day, let's talk about how Liv yeeted that chair straight at her head. Like,
bye-bye.
Full on was just like,
bye-bye. It made me so happy and elated to see it. And, you know, we talked about that too for Mania Night 1. We were like, when are they going to bring in this storyline again? Like, when are they going to bring in Liv? And I was talking so much crap about, like, they're not going to use Liv and da-da-da-da. And then literally, I actually felt like it was a pretty good timing because it was so unexpected. I thought they were just going to cut the screen and go back to the crowd or something. No, it was like, boom, she was right there. I was like, oh, crap. Like, holy shit, that was so cool. But yeah, I retweeted it a trillion times on my page. It made me very happy. It made me very, very happy to see.
The first time I ever saw it was when V made the like Sonic coins being that's the first time I saw it, and all I see is yeet, and then you hear I'm like, she got all of them knocked out of her.
And now something else I noticed, Rhea didn't get any licks in. She didn't get any licks in whatsoever. It was all Liv. So I'm happy to see that they're making Liv be like this aggressive teddy bear. She's like, she's so aggressive and so gritty that it doesn't matter how big you are, she's gonna take you down anyway, no matter what. So that's cool to see.
That's one of the things I love about Liv. It doesn't matter like height. It doesn't matter about any of that. She will run straight through you. Doesn't matter who you are. And what I really love about just her evolution as a whole, because she went from this very small part, like didn't get any TV time really, unless she was with the Riot Squad. Then when you saw the faction put together, you're like, oh, okay. They're all really good mix of each other, even though she was more so of the quiet one, didn't really say a whole much, and just was more of the muscle per se. But then when she split from the Riot Squad and she got that push, I was like, okay, she's actually really, really good. Because when, like I've said many times, when you're in a faction, sometimes your own capabilities gets dumbed down a lot. So a lot of people were like, she can't do this on her own. She's not going to be able to. But now look at her. She is getting her lick back from like a year and a half ago. She's just running through everybody. And I love it. She was actually part of the reason I wanted to do my hair the way that I did, is because it's a reverse of hers. Hers is blonde. And I was like, you know what? I really like that. So I'm just going to reverse it.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. We love Liv. Come on, Liv, get your lick back. Get your revenge. We're all waiting for it.
Everything from her, like you said.
Everything. Please, 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 please. But, it was a cool spot. And I'm sure Rhea agreed to do that spot. And, it's all fun. It's all fun, people. We don't want them to get hurt for real. Okay. I just want to clarify. We don't want anyone to get hurt. There's people saying that it looked botched in some way, but I thought it looked fine. I don't know. People are like, it was really hard. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point, but it was cool to see. So going on to two more men's matches, I think we have Nakamura and Ilya
Dragunov.
Scary man. And then we have the very end, which Jey ended up winning to go against Damian for the title, I think it was, right?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's do Ilya first. Ilya and Nakamura.
So I really like that they had the new champions, or the ones that retained. I like that they had them on Raw to kind of showcase them a little bit more. I really loved that. Ilya Dragunov, just as a whole, he's a beast. His workouts send me because they're not normal, but it works for him. And if he's this small man, but he packs like a huge punch. And I'll be the first to say I didn't give him enough credit when I first started watching him. But as I started watching him more, I was like, man, this guy is a beast. Like, no wonder why his last name is Dragunov, or that's what they gave him the last name as. And I was like, wow, this is great. Good job, Triple H. You just keep blowing it out of the water week after week. Even though you're not on the creative side of NXT, you're still making those crossovers in that bridge, which I think is really good, because you get to see who they're going to bring up, who they have an idea of who they want to bring up. So I have a feeling a main roster run for Ilya Dragunov is going to be done very soon.
I think so too. He's awesome. I don't know what it is. Like, it's not like he has the most muscles or anything. Like, he is muscular, but it's just like, he's crazy. I don't know. He has like this crazy thing that he brings to a match. It's just, he's extremely scrappy, extremely innovative, and like just strong. He does a crazy thing. Like, I don't know what it is specifically. I can't put a finger on it, but there's something unique about seeing him fight. It's just weird. I don't know. He's kind of scary. I don't know. There's something about him that really freaks me out. And then you have Nakamura. I never would have pictured the two together, but they work really well together, actually. They actually do really well. They both have that scrappiness and like that relentlessness, but yeah, that was a cool match. I liked it. And, of course, Dragunov won. So they pushed him over, so that's exciting. Okay, and then so the last one was with like Drew. Who else? Jay was solo there. Who else was it? Oh, Bronson.
Bronson Reed.
Yeah, Bronson Reed and someone else. I can't think of it. I think it's solo.
I think it was solo.
Yeah, but then Jay. So Jay ended up, getting out of that match. Poor Drew. I'm actually starting to feel bad for Drew. I know I call him Crybaby Drew, or not Crybaby Drew. Debbie Downer Drew is what I said. But I'm starting to feel bad for him. I feel really bad for him.
When I watched that match, I was like, oh, okay. In my head, I was like, all right, he needs to get out of there. He needs to move. He needs to leave. He needs to go. Like, before he gets his shit taken from him. Lo and behold, what happens? Damian cashes in, and I'm just like, this is not boding well for him, like, at all. And this is not gonna go in the way he wants.
And then he loses the first match back to Raw.
I saw someone reacting to his loss, and like, it's so funny, and I felt so bad, but it was so funny at the same time. This lady is screaming at her screen, you don't listen. You don't listen. And you're going to get your shit taken from you in front of everybody. Lo and behold, what happens? Here comes Senior Money in the Bank running down the ramp. And she goes, and that's what you get. And I'm like, oh, poor Drew. If it wasn't for CM Punk, he still would have it. I guarantee it. If it wasn't for CM Punk.
He's too obsessed with that man. CM Punk's like, damn, this dude is obsessed with me. I have a wife. He's like, he want me. Like, why do he care so much? And it's true. It kind of backfired on him. All those little jokes and stuff that he played online kind of backfired on Drew there.
It very much so did. I think the promo that he cut, it made me laugh so hard. Like, I know it wasn't supposed to make us laugh, but it made me laugh. Calling him the Bondage Undertaker just sent me. I'm like, oh my God. Who writes this creative? And if so, tell me, because that's great.
It's kind of true. I mean, I don't know, but they do, like we said in night one too, they have like those undertones for sure. So Jay ended up winning that. And I actually didn't expect him to, but I think they're going to push him now soon, because with Roman out, they're not going to let Bloodline, like the Bloodline members, just do nothing and go nowhere. I think they're going to try to do something with him again. But I was kind of underwhelmed by the match itself. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of underwhelmed by it. And I want to see new moves out of Jay too. And I love Jay. But I want to see new things. I want to be more excited by what he does in the ring. I'm sorry. I feel like that's like, I'm going to get so much flack. But it's true. I don't know. I want to see more. I think Mania Night 1 with him and his brother, I was just very like underwhelmed a little bit. So now I'm just like keeping an eye on it now. I'm like, okay, well, can we see something new? Like, I want to see some more. Jay, if you're hearing this, I love you. I just want to see more.
I agree, because I think just the twins being split was probably one of the greatest things they could have ever done, because if you look back at their career as a whole, they've always been attached at the hip. They've always been together. So I like that they kind of brought back what they did with the Bellas when they split them up, kind of in the same way. They had a feud going. It was one versus the other. And I think that match was a huge draw, but at the same time, it could have been produced a lot better. There could have been a lot more move sets that were put in instead of it being a very short match. I wasn't expecting it to be like that. I was expecting more fireworks, but I agree. It was incredibly underwhelming. And I love that Jay won, but Jimmy needed it more, because when Roman comes back, we don't know what type of mental state he's going to be in, because you had him being the longest reigning champion of all time, basically. His reign was over 3 years long. So I like that they changed hands for the championship, but at the same time, it's now going to create that story of where is it going to go? What what mindset.
And we'll get into it more too. We'll get into it more because for everyone who doesn't know, Jazz is, Bloodline Roman Reigns, and Core is more Cody and what is it? His anthem. Read the lyrics of his anthem. So yeah, so we're actually opposites, but it's gonna be fun talking about it. So I can't wait to talk about that more. But one more thing I want to talk about before we go into the women's, because I know this is for your podcast, or our podcast. So we'll get into that. But I want to talk about Judgment Day, and then we can talk, start getting into the women for Raw, and then Mania Night 2 as well. So obviously the show's kind of in the middle, or I don't know, beginning. Judgment Day, they came out. They're still together, which, did I see an eye roll? Did I see an eye roll? I didn't know that. I didn't know that you didn't like them. What? But yeah, so I actually have some really cool predictions. Damian and Rhea, both of them having the title. I know a lot of people think that's reuniting the Judgment Day, but because they both are very egotistical and they have a lot of pride and ego, I only feel like it's putting more emphasis on, them versus each other. And that continued struggle with who's the leader in Judgment Day. I feel like that's actually going to enhance that struggle and that problem because they got ego, especially Damian. And a weird part of me thinks that we might actually have a woman or a man holding on to another gender's title. What if they have them fight one day or battle each other for this title, so that they could hold two titles or something can you imagine?
I would not put it past Triple H at this point because Rhea has been very vocal about wanting to get into the ring with men. She's proven that she can hold her own. So I wouldn't put it past Triple H at this point, especially if it's agreed upon by both parties and they're like, yeah, okay, normally in the rules it says that males and females can't connect. You can't really do that. But with this new era that we're in, I wouldn't put it past Triple H because I'd love to see her go against her Terror Twin. I'd love to see it.
I just think it might happen because you're right. They have been talking and saying they want to do intergender matches, yada, yada. And I feel like Rhea has already shown that she can fight men, or she has, right? And so I could totally see them setting that up to have an intergender match. And then someone's going to be the two title holder. Can you imagine? That'll be another record broken. I'm putting out ideas for you guys,
Well, they do listen to us. Triple H says on a weekly basis, he does about 180 to the script every time. So I'm like, okay, he is actually listening to us here. So it keeps the viewership. And I tune in every time to see a female go hand to hand with a man.
Yeah. So Rhea, you could possibly, hang on to a male's title. I'm just giving it, I'm just helping. I'm just giving advice here. And also I want to see the Judgment Day fall. So, so it's a win-win situation here. Two titles and the Judgment Day, kind of dissipates somehow. But, okay. So the first female match that I can think of would be Jade and Chelsea Green. Oh, I love Chelsea Green. I love her so much.
Oh, I love her too. But I wish that they made the match a little bit longer. I wish it wasn't more along the lines of a squash match. Yeah. Just because my fear is with this new era, the females are going to kind of revert, or they're going to revert them back to not having as many, but with the amount of star power in the females alone. Yeah, I understand it might be setting up a future feud with Chelsea and Jade. However, I wish they would give Jade more time because anytime we see her, it's in short spurts. It's for a small segment. And then seeing how she performed at WrestleMania, it's why not give her more screen time? Show them what she can do.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that too. And they made Chelsea look so weak. Like, and Chelsea's not that weak. She's actually a really good wrestler, and she has a lot of great moves. And although she plays the goofy girl and that, stereotype really well, if you go back and watch her wrestling moments, she knows what she's doing. It's very calculated. It's very, her time on it is like crazy. Like, I don't know. She just has great timing. She's strong. She can lift those girls. She can slam them girls. And she's a stunt woman. Like, she's been doing this before wrestling, so she's knows what, how to sell things and how to make it look good. And she's strong. Her body is, like, to me, one of the top bodies, for me, like, as a woman. It's like an inspiration for me. She just looks great, and I want to look like her. Chelsea, tell me your tricks and your tips. Like, what are your secrets? But yeah, they put her up against Jade, who's obviously jacked. So, it made it look like Jade. I think what they were trying to do is make Jade look more powerful, but you don't have to do that. Like, Jade, we know she's powerful. Like, we can see, we have eyeballs, But I wish we had more time with them too. There's a lot of, like, predictions that Chelsea will win what is it? The box, what is that one called?
Money in the Bank.
Yes. Money in the Bank. Between her and Tiffany. And I would love to see those two get in the ring too. That'd be really funny. Those two, like, the little ditzy girls,
I'd love to see that, honestly. I'd love to see just Chelsea Green just more as a whole. Even though she is very present at each one, she's, in my opinion, not used enough because she's a comedian. She's hot. Like, she's known as, like, the hot mess for a reason. And then it's just, she's married to the death match champion. So at the same time, it's like, use that. Use what, like, she has already and just build off of that. And I think that's the problem within WWE is people are more so typecasted in a way when it comes to their character. So if you're like, because we all know when it comes to their characters, it's them turned up to like 10 to 20. So why not keep using the hot mess and why not keep using her as this, like, social media queen and make that into a gimmick on Raw or SmackDown? You know how many people would, like, tune in specifically for that? Like, take old tweets that they used to do during a feud, take them, put them up on the Titantron and stuff like that. I'm like, I miss that type of era. Bring that back too as well.
Yeah. I could totally see her, like, getting into a fight with Rhea or somebody and for, like, talking bad about them online. And, there's, like, that's the storyline. It's like they're going to get, like, one match one night, just because she was talking crap or something. Like, I could totally see that. That'd be cool. Yeah. I do want to see more of her. So the next match that I think you'd be I think you're going to be very excited to talk about is Indi versus, remind me? Indi versus Roxanne. Yeah. How did I forget Roxanne? Like, I can't forget Roxanne. But yeah, it's so funny because I felt like Roxanne resembles Candice right now a lot. And I felt like Candice was kind of scoping it out. Like, maybe I'm going to, choose Roxanne to be my tag rather than Indi. But they're making Indi look a little weak right now. I don't like it.
I agree, but I think it may be setting up for her imminent heel turn here. Because if you think about it, Indi and Candice have been together. They just put them back together again. Because it drew so much when they were in the way together, I don't think the way that they're doing it, it's kind of like Candice is like, either you step it up or I find somebody else. And each week after week, if you look at Indi's face, she gets progressively more pissed as she keeps going and as she keeps losing. So you see it's like in her face, she's herself getting tired of it. And it's like, what can I do now?
Yeah.
Even though I'm going to try to fight this fairly, at some point, you're going to have to fight unfair because your opponent fights unfair.
Yeah. And I feel like it's going to take Candice knocking it into her or something, or, that maybe them you know, not being together anymore for us to get an Indi turn. But I just don't like how they've used her so far. Like, I know when she first came through, she had the injury and stuff like that. So she didn't get a great start. But she lost a lot of momentum. When she was in NXT, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to see her, you know, on the main roster because she's tall and strong. And I'm like, this is like the new era, like tall, strong women coming onto Raw and SmackDown. But then, like, I don't know, we just never really took off like that. Like, when you compare it to like Tiffany Stratton or somebody, you know, like that, it's like Tiffany Stratton got that rocket on her right now. So it's kind of like Indi didn't really get that. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
I think it would make a great feud, like if they brought back Dexter, just because right now he's still with the company, but right now they said they don't have anything for him creative. What better way than to put them in a mixed tag match with Johnny and Candice and then Indi and Dexter, if that is the route that they end up going?
Yeah. They need something. They need something. I don't know what they're doing with that. It's so funny to see Candice in the freaking purple wings and all light colors, and she's like this evil little fairy. I'm like, put her in some black or something at least. I need to believe this heel turn with Candice. I don't know. She's just so, like, I've seen her just be so adorable for so long. It's hard for me to like match that with the more like aggressive nature, but I don't know. I just remembered I had a flashback of her yelling at Maxine, you know, trying to talk crap and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. That was like, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe when people turn, like a super babyface turns heel, like it's very hard for me to like buy into it sometimes. But